to DX Central's 2024 Summer of DX Challenge. Who says that AMDX season ends in May? Definitely not us. Now, if you spent most of your time DXing AM in the winter and the fall and been looking for that excuse to maybe spend some time digging in during the summertime to see what's there, we've got you covered. So let's take a quick look at our Summer of DX Challenge, the rules, the scoring, and everything else you need to know to get started. So if you have been participating in our weekly medium wave frequency challenge during season 3, and you already have an account, then you're good to go. You can go ahead and log in and start submitting your loggings. You know exactly how this is going to work. A couple of little tweaks I'll mention here in this that's a little bit different from how we usually do it, but you're ready to start logging. For those of you who don't have an account yet, make sure you could click on the red button up here to register. And once you have registered, then you can log in and start submitting loggings from there. All right, let's do a quick walkthrough. So on the page here, you'll see our rules and our scoring system, which we're going to come back to in a minute. You'll have if you want to download a wallpaper for your desktop on your computer, as a nice little reminder for you. Hey, don't forget to do those loggings and get those submitted. There you go. You can also do some merch if you want. Get a nice t-shirt, mug, things like that. We've got some merch up there for you for the Summer of DX. All right, so how this basically works, if you have not done this, one of the challenges with us yet, is once you create your login, when you come into the form to submit your loggings, it should pre-populate for you your name, your city, your province, region, state, whatever is in here, and your country and your email address. All that should automatically pre-populate for you. You can change that if you're going to be doing some portable operations. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you can also change these if you need to, but it will pre-populate for you, so you don't have to do it every time. From there, you're just filling out the information. So you've got your UTC date, UTC time, you got your frequency here, which we do have every one of the 9 and 10 kilohertz frequencies in here. So this is open not only to our U.S., North American folks, anyone around the world. If you're on an island in the South Pacific, if you're sitting somewhere in Europe, or if you're on the Florida Keys, it doesn't matter where you're located, you can participate in this challenge. If you have an AM radio and you're able to hear stations, you can submit loggings for this challenge. It's open to everyone worldwide. So every frequency in the 530 to 1710 kilohertz range is in here for you to use. Station call letters, if it's a station that has call letters, use those. If it doesn't, like Radio Nacional or Radio 1 or something like that, just put in where the slogan is there. The station city, the location, the state or province. Right now, this is just U.S. state or province. If you are international, there is an option here for DX. So if you're in any other country outside of the U.S. and Canada, just use the DX option. For U.S. and Canada folks, everything else is in here. I may, as demand kind of necessitates, I may add some things like Mexican states or other region information in here as we kind of go along. So I'll just kind of play it by ear and see how we do. But for now, it's just the U.S. States and Canadian provinces you'll find in here, and D.C. is in there. Puerto Rico, as an example, is international. Count that as DX. Doesn't count as a state. We're just doing the 50 states plus D.C. and the Canadian provinces for right now. Speaking of countries, we have some pre-populated options here based on those that we find are the most commonly heard. If we need to add some additional ones for especially our international folks, I'm going to kind of play this by ear as we go along. But if you are hearing a station from a country that's not on this list, just click on other and then type in the country name. If I'm seeing a bunch of the same names coming in, I'll add them to the list. Don't worry, I'll do that automatically for us. So just make sure you fill those out. Miles from station. Let's talk about this for a second. I know a lot of you international folks are going to like, come on, man, kilometers, get with it, America. I agree with you. I agree. But since the predominant number of DXers that'll be doing this challenge are in the U.S., just to keep everything even and equal, we are using miles for this challenge, okay? So you can obviously convert your kilometers to miles and put those in. We also are recommending folks, if you're needing to find out distance from your location to stations, that you use mediumwavelist.org for that. We have a handy dandy little video that kind of walks you through how to create an account, how to log in, and then how to get those distances that you need to plug into the form. Right here is that video. It'll stay there so you can always watch that if you need to. But we recommend mediumwavelist.org. You can use whatever tool is best for you, but it has to be as the crow flies, and it needs to be in miles. So please, 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 I know our international folks, I'm begging for your forgiveness on this one. We're just going to have to use miles for now. If I can figure out how to do it later on where you put in whatever you want and it converts it, I'll do it. But right now, we're all going to have to just kind of work off of that and use miles. For programming notes, be as detailed as you can here. This actually is helpful, and I'll explain why to you. So you'll see here in a minute, there's actually an area where you can actually search the loggings that have been submitted. So let's say I'm sitting on a frequency and I'm hearing something, and I want to see if other people have heard the same thing from the station I think this might be. I can just do a quick search in the loggings, and maybe I can get some hits back on that and kind of confirm some of the information for me. So be as detailed. Don't just say they went to network news. Say they went to Fox News or CBS News. Mention that they have time pips at the top of the hour, whatever it might be. Slogan information, FM translators, if they mention the FM frequency in there, things like that. Be as detailed as you can in here, because it will help not only you, but everybody else with their loggings as well. Radio and antenna, I think we've got most options covered in here. If I'm seeing a lot of others, I might expand those out a little bit, but for the most part, I think we got most everybody covered, the options that are kind of predominantly used here for both of those. And then just hit submit, and then you're done. Then if you scroll down past that, you'll have actually, real quick, when you submit the form, it'll refresh and it'll say click here to submit another. You just click on that link and it refreshes the form for you for a new one. But if you then scroll down, you'll actually see some stats. Now, right now it's kind of a blank, so let's use this as an example. This is week 18, our current week of the Medium Wave Frequency Challenge, and this is pretty much exactly what it's going to look like here for you, with a couple of differences for the Summer of DX Challenge. Here's that log I was talking about. You'll be able to search. So let's say if I say, hey, did I hear KTRH yet? I can type in KTRH in my name, and there I am, right? So this is a long contest, 4 months. So you may forget, did I submit that station yet or not? You can actually do a quick search to see if you did or not. You can also come in here and say, you know what, I wonder if other people are hearing KTRH. What are they hearing for the network news? And you can actually go in here and search that station. And if you click on the little plus sign, right, or not plus sign, this little area right here where it says entry ID, you have a number right here. If you click on that area, that first cell, it'll actually expand that row with all the other details from that log submission. So you can see this is a news radio slogan. Here we've got legal ID and news. Barry's got News Radio 740 KTRH. So trying to get as much detail in there as possible will help. Look at mine. Mine was super helpful. I said on the Super Kiwi coast to coast. I wasn't really a lot of detail in there. I need to do better myself. So yeah, you can always use that information to help you identify what your hopefully folks are using that properly. You can use that to help you identify the stations you're hearing as well. But you can do any kind of search you need to see if you've heard of that station, if other folks are hearing that station, like here's Radio Relo, there's me, I heard Radio Relo this week, so boom, there it is, and I can kind of see what I said, and so forth. And then if you keep scrolling, you'll see things like how many total logs have been submitted, how many DXers have submitted logs, how many countries, how many states have been heard. And yes, right now that is just US states plus DC. If I need to expand that out to like include Canadian provinces as a separate item here, I will. It just depends on how much we're getting, right? I need to kind of gauge what we're getting in as we go along to see how I need to expand that out. You'll see a breakdown of how many stations have been heard by DXer, and a little chart that looks kind of like this. How many logs by station. So maybe you can see other stations here that maybe you haven't heard. Maybe you want to go after them if everyone else is hearing them. Maybe you're like, hey, that's a target list. There you go. How many unique stations have been heard? How many logs by frequency have been heard? I think that we have the top 10 would be on that one. Logs by state. You see a map here. So this is kind of a heat map, right? If you hover over a state, it'll actually tell you how many logs have been submitted for that state. Yes, I know it's kind of US-centric, but again, majority of our DXers are US, but you may be international hearing US stuff, and you're looking for some ideas. Well, there you go. There's a nice map for you. States heard by DXer, and again, that is US only. Again, if I need to expand that, we will. Countries heard by DXer, logs by country, individual number of logs per country. Mileage, which kind of defaults like this, but if you click on that first column header, it'll actually sort it by longest there. You'll also see a log by radio and log by antenna. We'll consider additional ones as we go along. If I need to flesh that out, I'll continue. I'm always looking for new analytics that I can pop in here. So if we think of anything, we'll definitely pop that in there for you guys. Let's take a quick look at the rules real quick. I've covered a couple of them already. This one is running from 0000 UTC, Saturday, May 4th. So it's open now. Ends at 23:59 UTC on Wednesday, August the 31st. So that is UTC time, right? UTC 23:59. Once it gets to September 1st, UTC, we're done, right? The entire medium wave band is available here for you, 530 to 1710 kilohertz, any frequency in there. Any stations received in that frequency range are good to go. Pirates are included. TIS HAR stations for our North American folks, those are included. Anything between 530 and 1710 kilohertz that you hear in there, as long as it's broadcasting on that frequency, you can log it. So no spurs, no images, no harmonic, stuff like that. Let's be honest there, right? If they're not actually broadcasting on that frequency, then it doesn't count. But if they are, then yeah, count it. We do encourage portable operation, so taking your radio and getting out and about. It's summertime after all, right, here in the North American continent. But if you do that, just keep in mind any logs you submit need to be within 25 miles of, you need to be within 25 miles of your home for those logs to count. If you're outside of that 25 miles, you can, obviously you can change your location here on this entry form. You can also, maybe if you're going to do a lot of that, you can set up a separate registration that's for you portable if you want to do it that way as well. Stations can only be logged once during the duration of the event. So, that's why, again, you want to double check this table here to see if you've already logged a station before, if you're unsure. If there are duplicates, I'll be spot checking this as we go along. If I spot duplicates, I'll be deleting those. So just keep that in mind. If you see your numbers go down, there's probably a reason why. Equipment that you use has to be your own, or it has to be something you maintain. We have 2 Kiwis here at DX Central. One's ours. One is our sister Kiwi at Shortwave Central, which is around the corner from my house here. I maintain that one. So those are our ones we would use, but I'm not going to use my buddy Jacob's up in Minnesota because that's a whole other state. That's a whole other look of the world. So no online remote SDRs unless they are yours and you maintain them. So if you happen to have a Kiwi or online SDR that you have in another state, by all means, but make sure you change that location on your entry form here to recognize that you're in a different location there, right? There will be a scoring system that is implemented for this challenge, which is a little bit different because we usually don't do that in our weekly challenges. The final points leaderboard will be presented after the challenge has concluded, and I can tabulate all the points during our season premiere of Season 5 of DX Central Live in September-ish. So we'll look at the points breakdown here in a moment. Entries must be submitted using the official form below this guy right here. So if you post stuff on social media, if you send it to the clubs, if you email me or anything like that, if it's not in the form, it doesn't exist, right? So it has to be submitted through the form. Otherwise, it's not going to be considered reception for the challenge. So you do have to submit the form for this to work. We encourage you to use, again, mediumwavelist.org for your distances. We have the little video here for you if you need some help on how to do that. There will be 6 categories, and these will be applied again post challenge as well. So I'll be applying which category you fall under after the whole thing is said and done. And these will largely be based on your time zone. Everyone outside of North America is kind of lumped into the international. Maybe future instances we'll do different ones, but right now there's international, and then there's Atlantic time zone, Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific. Those are the time zones we're working with. So whichever one of those you kind of fall under based on your registered location, that's what you're going to be. So you may not have the total highest points of everybody, but you might have the total highest points for the Eastern time zone or Atlantic, right? So it's a way to kind of give you other folks a chance to kind of even things out. Speaking of, that's kind of a lot of the point of some of the scoring structure that I've put together here. Now, again, the points will be calculated at the end of the challenge. Entries are subject to be deleted or edited at our discretion if we think there's some wonkiness kind of going on or maybe some improper usage. We are on the honor system here, guys and gals. So if we think there's anything kind of not on the up and up, we can delete those records or edit those or whatever. And we may add more point things or tweak what we have now. It just depends on kind of how things go. This is our first attempt at this kind of setup, so we may make some changes as we go along. But basically, how we're going to start off at least is that you get 1 point for every log that you submit. And then for every 100 miles of distance from you to that station that you receive, you get an extra bonus point. So everything from 0 to 199 is 1 point, right? That's your close-in stuff. That's all 1 point. Those are easy. Everything from 200 to 299 is 2 points. 300 to 399, that's 3 points, and so forth. So this is a way to encourage folks to beating those distant stations, obviously, but it's also a balancing act because our East Coast folks have so many stations that are kind of close in together, but our West Coast folks have fewer stations, but they're further away. So this is a way to kind of balance that a little bit for our East and West Coast U.S. folks. You'll also get an extra 5 bonus points for every month during the challenge that you submit a logging in. So there's 4 months, May, June, July, and August. So every month that you have a submitted log, you get an extra 5 bonus points. So this is to encourage you to keep going, right? Keep this sucker going as you go along. And then here's what I'm really excited about. A lot of times, obviously, the SDR folks have the advantage because you can record the entire band or a big chunk of it and then go back and squeeze all the DX out of that into your logbook. Well, if you're using a portable or a desktop, kind of a non-SDR, we're going to give you every single logging that you do with a non-SDR, you get a 10 bonus points extra, right? So the mileage points and then an extra 10 bonus points just because you used a portable or a desktop. Knowing that you're going to have fewer loggings for you portable and desktop users, you're going to have fewer loggings probably than the SDR guys are. So they're going to have more loggings, but we have to find a way to kind of balance that out. Again, we're on the honor system here, so if we see anything looking a little wonky and things are kind of out of sorts, just kind of keep in mind we may have to make some adjustments, but this is to encourage you guys to get out and about, do some DX with the portables, and see what you can get and get out of your comfort zone of those SDRs. I'm going to be guilty of that myself, so I'm going to be doing some DX on portables of the summer to make sure that I get out of my comfort zone. And that's really about it. So just make sure that you have your account set up at dxchallenges.com. Log in. You can leave this window open, by the way. Every once in a while, it may kick you out, and then you log back in, and then it'll say, "Hey, you have to be logged in." Just hit refresh. Once you've logged back in, just hit refresh, and it'll refresh and show you the form. I know sometimes that happens to me. I'll leave this window open all the time. I go back in. I realize I'm not logged in, so I'll log in real quick, and I hit refresh, and then boom, there's the form. Okay, but that's everything you need to know about the Summer DX Challenge. Where to go, how to get logged in, how to fill out the form, how you're going to accumulate points, how you can keep track of your progress and the progress of others here using the stats, and so forth. And that's it. That's the 2024 Summer of DX Challenge from DX Central. My friends, I hope this is an enjoyable and productive summertime season for your AMDX, and that you hear some stuff that you've never heard before. Some of my best DX ever has come from the summertime. I hope that some for you is right around the corner. Take care, my friends. Best of DX 73, and good luck from DX Central.